I want to share me mamo good afternoon that's mamo ha Ediba original TV me that's say ne wajibre na o share in semesisi on my Ghana me dey akosi asabia ene no me de wo minim se watia watwe bi so a eye atoye ntema ato ye nuanom a ewo fra mantemu nititu ene eye north south town ene central town any parts of eastern region and I say a prayer mantem ni meche German district hono bese I mean ko bese 3 weeks ni a atoyentem fan say Akosombo dam ensuo na ewo mu no ni mudifo a ewo ho kire se ensuo na adoso dodo nti na se omu bie na ebitimi esen kone no ene de ohawi e de abra ye nuanom a ewo sa important mo amene wo kasa de afa ho ene enti ye hwe ho na ya hwe ade baako a ehia ewo ye obi abra bom se wapomudin ene se school nsem anase wadesua eho ensem tene no ye hwe adesua ne titu ni enkola sese by this time anka omo woni academic year first term yi na nkomo school mo na so school dan eno na sabe wona omo ho aka no ye de omo akogu wo se omo ntena ho kosi se eye aban no anase bebe sese omo kɔ na ebetime wie edi ama omo nti school sem die na aban no eka fa ho na die na ekoso ewo ho Ghana National Association of Teachers ede nsem bi abetu dwa ene ebeto musuko na yakɔ eye ne eka ho nyina no ye de akɔ enti no mesrao enti no nyabre na twen ye betwa ye ho ne abaya ba ye ne mpanfo a mo Ghana ha sabe ye de school nsem ana ya desua ho nsem ahye omo nsa se omo hwe so emfa emaye omo na eni omo edi nkita ho ahwe se atoye ntem a esi ewo eye fra mantem we edien ena omo ye ede afa ho efa eye school ensem ho ana se adesua ensem ho ewo ho ye ntwa ho tew na ye mbra o se mesese me director bia me hu na chema te se ohye ho a o kasa nti ma me sere no ma ye ntwa ho na ye mbra ye ba ye ne wo ebekɔ eye fra mantem ni akɔhwɛ adesua ho sem efi se eye atoye nkyem yi eto Okay, Musa Fonti, yeah, that's a sawajibre na ukusu ahwe nsem esisi ewo original TV so na me ka se eye atoye nkyem a esiye ewo fra mantem na se water region no ene ho nsem ye hwe ensunsuaso a enya fd ewo ye school sem ho anase ya disia ensem ho eye so wo sha 15 September na eye VRA aye Water River Authority anase wona omo hwe adwumaku a hwe Akosombo dam no so no omo started se omo nsuo na aye bebre ewo omo ho no omo bie ma enso netimi akọ enye sara ni omo frɛ na ye turbans anase fidie na omo de ema ye nkane no ebetimi atɔchema 15th and omo sha asese omo ebiebie eye omo afidie nse na be ya ensuo no betimi akọ na fiti ho na no utie mu a na level na omo bie no na eni soro papa but eye be se October 17th na ebeye kase a ema ensuo no ebufu aso ewo ekura hodro mu anase communities ahodro mu a ewo eye sa important ho a me ne wo kasai ama timamfo tese ahokyere pa de bebre na ntimi amfa hwe ewo mfie a ye na me ne wo kasai obia ye yi o mafi ho dodo na eda classroom so ahoto ye hwe communities ni bia ema eye atoye nkyem yi ebi eka omo ye de beto so ama na we hu communities ahoto na atoye nkyem we eto omo ewo ho na wetimi aka bebre na nim se ye ka se mape ene ne keka ho ni nyina ho a masa communities ahodo nya na ewo ye North Town, Central Town and a South Town ewo for mantem no and na wokɔ German te se afan place wo so a atoyentem bi eno eto omo ewo ho na ene no me ne wo kasa e de afa esa ne se eye saa ensemsem we esi wana sensem esisi ewo ho yi edien e na ye e de afa eye omo school nsem ho ana so omo desua ewo eye saa important ho me ne wo kasa the new academic year no ahya ase a schools are south ni north ni other parts of the country no egusu a omo esua de ma me no ka se aye student na se nkwara omo baby omo ho akan the same curriculum na omo use so enti ede ntutuye na ye ede afa ho ebiam no so Ghana National Association of Teachers Mechenat omo de abetu dwa se ekwan a aban no fa so edi saa adwuma no ase the pace no wo form omo hu a keka bia ewom enti ye be hwe se ye ne aban na msifo na se wona omo hwe ya adusua nsem so wo mai mu edi nkita ho ne ya hwe se ede na omo so omo ye ede afa ho aha enti se wo hwe school fo ni bi na wo hu se omo ewo ho a eye school no classrooms ahodo na ne oho na timemfo a ewo sign potem ye ede omakodu se omo nkotena kosi se ensuo ni beba fo na se e bi aban bepe bebi foforo ede ama omo yanko zoom na ye ne eye kasama afo na se PRO public relations officer ede ma Ministry of Education ora kwasi kwaten ene nu ndi nkita ho na ye hwe de a eye asoye a ehwe ya dusia nsem so wo man mu no ne omo ye ede afa ho ora kwaten. Good afternoon.
Munyaba memawaha.
Oh, good to hear from you. That's say when you bring so ede amaye.
Say adwuma de ye ne mo anaye o. Enti aseda ni hokra.
Okay. You say na say mo I think said for the 3 days ago and minister for education or Dr. Educhum and then empower for do some of the communities. Now omo ko ba ye no e de na esi
Was now Tuesday no na ye call ho. You call most of the affected communities spillage no e ba ye no. Said ya wa usi boy mete oka mepe. Ye call mepe ye call bato. Ene mse kro kakra aka ho no. Na wotaya esi ene so ma de call ye de say broni beka say solidarity na che say penifo say awrechiche efiri nipa ho enti asemba nipa na ebechiche nipa wre enti e call first of all to show our solidarity to the people na ebi nso no akwache say asema to mo de oyo ni abade na nso nyo mo nkwa na yeja mo say ono nkwa informal asem nko debi ye che say we are going to support them. And in your Minister for Education, na we did delegation and Honorable Dr. Yose Duchu. I want a pound for that. Here, Crana, a massa, and Sahaya from Copane said, Ononquanco, or the Ebeka Committee on Education of Parliament. One more penny pa wumu, what is the chairman of the committee, and also Eddie Emubi. Na ranking member onu nyina eka ho ebi onso no oba Ministry of Education ye wo agencies ankrabata bebra ministry ne nhihye ye nimu no ye no onmo edi dwuma bebre titiri uhwe bibi di se Ghana Education Service onmo na hwe bibia ebeka se the pre-tertiary space intifiti nkwara onmo wo KGA de ba kusi the secondary school so no one more a penny for pa kase pa no no more ho one more so hwe na if there is any intervention be I was a Ministry of Education ya one more aye e bi nso ni omkwa ya the FPMU for koi penny oda no wura ni kokopon ono nso wo ho the FPMU no so ye funds and procurement unit say ohwe Ministry of Education hihye mu ne gumasua no aso ya ni hihye mu a abribia no say ebesi dan say be construction say be we titru na ya na fakese na free FPM almost some penifo no eka ho because me body a let us say agencies are all relevant agencies are here on mo na dey make sure say ye be ye ntotoye na e dey aho hare kakra abre ennuanom a onmo ho aka na dey eduonum nyina e dey ekoi
right
ebi onso no in your political leadership kakra so emedi animu na ade ba ko a meye ne se mia menua Samoku je travel akwa MP o no ton papa no bon modern wo ho papa hwe ade asi a ono nso wo fa ha owuradu twumu ye na afamu de kase no na papa no nso wo ho na ono nso chechire mu na ba bia challenges wo ba bia wo se ye na ye no no ono nso ono mu nyina de eboa.
Right.
Na kwa no se de kaka kane no, we want to have a first hand information. Sebi benefo se bi si tworo do nya de ematoa. Ana nka na no mkasa wani sema ye ni nya ne na timi di ja na emu unsa wo mu pa de nya de eni nyawo. Ti papa no koy wona na pamfo so ono mu ade o mani kwa ko hu de akoso the extent of the spillage, the affected people. Na yekoye no ade ba ko ana sebi na asema sie no enya asema ye papa de na so ade ba ko ehye nkura kese pa na say yekoye na other relevant agencies na state institutions yinwanu na domofo na omo ho opani a na owo ho odi ya ni mebo na baso pa deputy director no na ohwa VR fo so onu muso nyina ho ntie nyina na yekon sahwe no na yakwanya owura ye friend Dr. Osedu Chua Minister for Education onyaye ene akyerkyerefo no bi atwetwe nkomo na menwa baade ba kwa na won no say mze nyaare ntie one of our findings akyerkyerefo no kwa na nyon mu nyina na ye de ewo ho because the SC no bu ho ha no ba bi nya de enna obo ho nya taade nya de enhye ebi wo ho kra no won free krom ho oni busuani bi a oye de okoka no ntina ebibre wo ho na nso na maako bienu bi enso wo ha no nso nya de eni ho. Of course, said the regional director of Ghana Education Service, about 22,000 students were affected. I think some of the news are caught viral no, means there has been displaced. I think there is a difference between affected and displaced. You can be affected without necessarily being displaced. It is possible some Kofobius has been displaced, but the number of people are not more affected. You know, in terms of students, were about 22,000 any day. MJ teachers and then almost 2,000 teachers and so are not affected. Now, adia Ministry of Education, the who ye no, who say we have to quickly provide emergency and rapid responses.
Right.
Be a short-term solution, medium-term solution, and then long-term solution. The premu wa opaninu Dr. Osedu Chum edi animo no premu wa no ade na ehuhia kese pa yese nipa no wono mo chade mo fra no ko school adesuafo ne community members no nyina wono mo saboko ma no amunu wa na edina na so mo 450 bags of rice say chechefo no so ye donate 200 mo na de aka no so call communities no so mo so as a relief item. The mattresses koi so no in terms of say boama disuana nkasa started said the way we don't have a lot of learning losses no we put what we call mitigating factors and no and say ya ewo ho no ebi ne say we no can say schools na insuring fa no insuring submerge no wono mo asase around be a friend shift system and the shift system nyaba enkane ne tie kurasa ne ekɔ school na ne school mum be bebrebe school dan no so no
na sa no pa
so anopania we are what I say because schools ni bi wo and yes schools no has been affected say school no flooded no but school ni bi wo say they was kind one of some of the community members no abeloje so and there's a short-term solution in there. You can capitalize on the chef system and make sure say you expand access to Obia, no Obia in a in the medium term, no, na any VR reform, much as I say, and soon I say school you, idiot baby, and KB, now can't bear so near Belfast, some of Frano Sato Madisha, so a bit is a pavilion. So all over the world, when we have disasters like this, pavilion, no money a day, I mean, as a temporary, friends say, a place more Frano Betty, a share there. I feel so teaching and learning materials. You know what you think, come on, see a register in for your books in for just a young bimpo. While minister books are na a big care more, let us all walk on the nap when I swadi who said, put me for Sabina day, and co. Or also the books are going to care more, or also a chama, or no man or more. That's a GS for kitchen, say, only as I say, no more for most of the teaching and learning materials, so soon a day, and co. Okay. I mean, that is the overview of our visit.
All right.
But assurance, man, say, we are providing all the necessary emergency interventions to make sure, say, a woman and question be, and those are what we call the mitigating factors that we are putting on board.
All right. So for the shift system, is it across the affected communities?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, the affected communities, there are some communities that one were not even affected. But as you say, one my no, be a friend is safe havens. Safe havens, nature say, a one nipa kuna one ye displays, omunya baby nti bua ni nso afa ne dan ni adano, ono mo eba beta ho. So, ya won kra no bizu wo kra na aside say some communities are my displays abeta on school no. Ebu wo kra na one so cannot even be tracked. Now, let me clarify here. Cannot be tracked and just say be a plan so far na bibisa. Na the akoba ne say e bit one mo of anom say fan say kami bi kuro mu asante achem domi abra ana bia akwa na te pass na okosu a afi no akwa na nsuo ne yes ana bia ne so bia be fa na akota ko tia so and we need to track all this running na making sure say teachers na no we are relying on them at the same time. No, so I mean some of the districts and utimun say the education directorate there together with BIA or more DC or more on nyina say mobilizations that they are providing a alternative form of education. I mean when we talk about distance education, not distance say the new distance but the old distance providing materials musia itimi cheche made nipa bi be che made coupled with the shift system. But in the medium term, no, na pavilions, so no name temporary places aba. Ye hwe kwan ya befa so say even most of the schools no kwa ebenya other forms of accommodation more displays na then we can get our classrooms back. Na unum say enye honko a ade ba akokura so ehun hia ye very crucial na say wono ensuo no bi a spillage no etima kofom owie ni GR4 twenkomo no no se be 2 weeks time there. Na just one more jai spillage.
Okay.
Na spillage na kofom owie no. Oh, ade ehun hia so na say you even have to check the state of the classrooms. Now, I know before I do one ensuo no etimi check so I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to give dates to it. But ensuo no bi ha say ensuo be gina dem no esa river no kofom na ensuo na twetwe akon kakran na afi na twetwe akwa wie no ensuo be gina dem bosomi ana bosomi bienu de ade unse ebe pai moa ade ntontom beba afi de atache beba anua when si bebubu ni nyina no sanse nyina we need to relook at all of them, take inventory, know which classroom can be used, know which classroom cannot be used. Nti enwanom na atefo se de na uzika no so wono mo say ministry ni abeke kan ho no be de trauma se pa me trauma se kire se ono ye cheche ni ohun se nwumasua de strapped de ebe ha na pa nanso ade no eye no se bi akoye se besepa ni kunna ha ban panifo se etase ne nyansafom because one hwe ya enyo nkwa na wo so ye uhia EPA for advice, uhia VR for, uhia NADMO for, uhia security agencies because ye call baby a na yese nipa ni bi kwa island so no so a wono mo se wo mo de omo mafo to the safe havens. So entini nyina no empanifo a wono mo nimdie na ye wudi nyansa ka ho no aye na enwanom na atefo yate o masempa nanso before ko no mo be kasa no na ye district directors ne directorates name region fo ni nyina ni ada leadership ho community for na so boa ahemfo no so boa kese pa na ne nyina no ensese wo ho a yetu ho anam ndi eguso a yetu ho anam and we are assuring them say ye bekoswa ye sisi na anwumasua no we don't encounter a lot of learning losses, and even in the worst case unya lesson losses we require na we put mitigation measures yakwaba yabankran benifa betra drawing table so wono mo able home where we can collaborate, bring all stakeholders on board to be able to make sure.
That was my next question because as whatever you are saying, is different from what the stakeholders, i.e., Ghana National Association of Teachers, kind of collaboration, saying with the stakeholders, saying in this period.
I'm not a penny pan mitieno and minya baku. If you didn't give me money. But we busa the question. We busa the question. Now, who say question? We busa. The pa. Because we busa question with a train say, "Oh, the bois ama a solution to the challenge that is happening.
Right.
And then when you're also netesa, a leading question just to provoke and solicit a certain direct answer. Said the bear at the end of the day, because as Messiah no bentianya day, and in a jume. Oh, yeah, no, Busan said, Openi, nursing ministry, any a buying crown, one any comprehensive, a friend say, coordinated effort to be able to make sure, say, I resolve the economy. Now, more dream, say, Ukubusa, not in your person, assembly or catch up. And me, one of my response, and that's what I'm coming to repeat here, and say, say, these things requires a very dispassionate conversation. Yentimi say they abribia see no. Abribia yes who Ministry of Education say now to say and then we generate the trends. And the problem is still there. No. Nkofo a ho hiem nipa a ho kire mu and we need to position the conversation in a very right perspective. The ekwan obufa obusa no me kwasi kwatin me de pa. Me yiwa no kire say yeah, because there has not been any coordinated effort. Me that say, 22,000 students have been affected.
Right.
It took human beings to go down, organize data, collate data, identify students, begin a shift system before that data even came out. It didn't take Sebu Kafache. It didn't take angels to run the shift system no matter or master no.
Right.
Nipa ko president ako. Vice President call, Education Minister call. Sir, now I'm not a disaster management expert. Nanso you ne anasa atorenchen BAC. The first important priority is to save lives and properties.
Right.
What do I say? And this is a first, we are saving lives, we are rescuing people. Ye penipa abomo to at the baby. And no say we've jettisoned education on mumasua anya de ehun yae David. And what you want more kasa I mean I bet to differ. Me no mo nya dream bebre. Nanso me mentia se e wa sen more can say they are coming from a place of genuineness. Say omo acheche for them kwara tifie ha omo. Say do acheche for si do omo adwuma pa na be na otwemienu ni omo nkoye adwuma de acheche for e ha omo pa.
Okay.
Nti ehon na me hunu say na the Afriba. Nanso oi adwobrel asembia anya de any ho. There is a coordinated effort and there's a coordinated effort not even from the Ministry of Education alone but all stakeholders. Say not for onu no so mo ko even they themselves are also helping with the coordinated effort because one more donation kra eboa Emma Abayano and nipa omo de ewo ho nyina.
All right.
Na you for Hobia reform penny.
Mr. Kwate, hold on kakra ma me na twa me kakra. Mami engage eye edu watch for almost so e bad to ho nsem a ya na omdi mu akotene pa e wo mo mami engage almost se na me get back to you on the Zoom. Ora Kwesi Nimo Junior eye programs officer edema edu watch ma yanko ahoma no so ene no encoding kita ho. Mr. Nimo, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Mpacha po mu to say. Thank you for your time. Obebisa say, how there is the situation on education?
What's everything about you?
Me bisa say, near Akoso this communities for water region. How there is it on education?
Well, the situation such as this, as a disaster it can't refer to education because when disasters happen, one of the key areas that are affected, aside the health aspect, is education because depending on the nature of the disaster, it tends to prevent movement. And usually when movement is prevented, the moment movement is curtailed in any circumstance, tends to affect education service delivery. You have flat situation here.
Right.
It would highly impact education because this is the case where the place has been waterlogged. So it means even finding bare areas or dry land to gather students or learners to learn is a challenge. It's a very huge challenge. So currently we would say the situation has been very unfair to education, but we're hoping that as things ease down, it would also lead to the easing down of conditions for normal education service delivery to continue.
Okay. I mean, yeah, Ministry of Education for a Kasamo PR just almost any gugu aquemwa, say being a shift system, almost the echo and sana as a sony back from Ukraine, almost just say VR reform with me no collaborating. That's a pavilions be crown on city aka and my schools now say a war na a bit on to me a use now. From your side, you know, what is it enough, or what do you think, sir? As I say, omoye kani omoye no one, a bit to me speedy the process. Affect education really.
All right. Currently, no, idea back na lucky the response to these emergency situations.
Right.
Which is what we call the education and emergency plan. Here am I ometum pon wo level no equating the brain na no more the emergency in the education plan plan be at that institutions are hold obia won the role I play to the extent at the moment there is any emergency situation or there is a disaster no there are outlines in the plan that it takes that as you say BSC a church for BSC district education directors BSC now other service deliverers in Sweden I bet you it will not curtail education service delivery. Meaning, say, in emergency situations, education can still go on. Rebecca Abra covered by
right.
A trainer by dream to say, COVID ever chair say a woman and seem to a see air day. At them, I didn't say a kata. Seem to a demo was a kata and say we have to prepare our education system against shocks. We have to prepare the education system against shocks to the extent, say, anytime there are emergency situations, education service delivery can still go on. That is lacking. COVID by buying for a very weird route because COVID by say we are not prepared as an education sector in Ghana for emergencies. The same thing say at the top. Unfortunately, flooding situation and yet the first time it's a flooding situation. Some are man-made, some are natural disasters. Ebasana. Ayana ahohareni ahopre ene ayana enikoko aba say libre ayana abent if there are not already instituted plans that's a feel na ebi dan crane mo thing crania come here say the situation will be even dire than it's supposed to be the same thing the primary thing I was buying ebomodin and say ni manimu ya e dey nyama beto akwan na an education and emergency plan for Ghana and you put in place. Secondly, I would say Ministry of Education collaborating with GES and the Center for National Distance Learning and Open Schools. It said that collaboration is going on, but it has to lead to the introduction or the sending of virtual learning deployments and initiatives to these areas. The last time I NDC is from the ECASA, so they've been able to identify dry lands. Mofano, shelters, and the key challenge currently is the availability of learning materials.
Right.
In we start all of a sudden because they've been through something. So the preparation to introduce them back, continuing their education has to be gradual. But because of the gradual process it has to go through, it has to start very early. If we had an emergency in education plan, I would have been able to start it gradually as the plan dictates. Now, so currently, a new hospital. So what would happen is that in many more there, identification of shelters and more private maintenance is there. And no, I was there in place. Now, local government and district assemblies, district education directors, now we deploy some learning materials to these areas. Within the course of this week 9 areas, within this week and early next week, Africa Education was about and one provided some learning materials to some of these affected communities. Benevolent societies, organizations, and individuals, and even your colleagues in the media.
Right.
And also, brains. Who being here say, Ankranka ni say, I was buying a who bomb cratching. The Ankranka and so pain. Come here and said the Ankranka no, a door to change their buying.
Okay.
And only a big challenge, a big problem. Because in the under normal circumstances, I was buying it's one among Cassia, not Ankranka when you're the image, and so as Ankranka Mona, then HR buying fine. A new cancer banner. Currently, there was a collaboration I would work with. Now, and no, it's me, Bassa. The same to know your best threat. Now, that the education are very much affected. The strong will be all those say, Mother Donna now for them. So you say, my friend be and I said, Luciani be a hot door on a master. And what be bring out for Nina Monsanya, the intimate care, who been here, what we call the Ghanaian benevolence and hospitality. A woman, and I am an Edru, a young man more from Mantemato and Chem affluent.
Okay.
Yes, I asked Rabbi and said, many education and emergency plan intimate Embra to be.
All right. Before I remember what corner, na ebi ka say over other parts of the country. I mean, ka say oni academic year. Even though an AC wo ho no, other students from other parts of the country, no, koso a AC on my there. With this, no, are you expect or are you who project and as a more expect say be a ministry, no, more curriculum numbers system kakra to suit those students now this parts of the country and major affected parts of the country.
Right. One challenge in emergency situations which do not affect the entirety of the nation,
Right.
There's some section of students or learners will be excluded from teaching and learning, while the other majority, significant majority, still go on to carry out their day-to-day plan. That is why an education in emergency plan would dictate some of these things for us to follow. We are aware that government is fast-tracking the procedure to produce an education in emergency plan for Ghana. So as deliberations are ongoing, these are some of the things that we are seeking to discuss with government to ensure that in their own wisdom and with best practices on their side, we'll be able to get them to put in place certain measures that would inure to the benefit of learners in these affected areas who are currently not undergoing any significant form of teaching and learning, to also be on the safe side when the academic calendar is nearing its closure, examinations are ongoing, assessments are ongoing, but then maybe they might still be in the situation. So there has to be a secluded plan to take care of these kids and learners in these affected areas. That must be etched, it must be etched in a document.
Okay.
It must be etched in a document that will serve as a plan, a guide for subsequent unfortunate incidents that are usually natural occurring.
All right, all right. Mr. Akosombo, thank you very much for your time. See you for unya kwande mai. Ora kwate me so jina so kakra ma me nkodi abrafo nka to sima na me sambra me ba me ma wa respond to education and emergency plan edu what for ka se ye ni bi e wo man mu ntato ye ntam eto ye ya na se ato ye ene ejija enti ye ntwa ye ho na emra se ye ba ye be ye nkeji PRO Edema Ministry of Education. Ora kwesi kwate.
My primary
Adeshimama the numbers no ebeku screen so now per se ofre na o contribute and now bisa question bia na also wait to me afre na yebese akọ zoom PRO the Ghana Education Service ora kwesi kwaten eda so e wo so a ye no no yebeje nchiremu bi afri ne ho afi edu watch papa no e wo na so ye ne di nkita ho no nyina no ye the numbers no egu ho wo question bia pese wo bisa ensembe wona wonte ase a utimi bisa command na ye be direct e de ama no na watimi eya no e de ama nti de numbers no begu wo sesia ye go back to zoom ne ora kwaten enkoto aye nkomodie no so ora kwaten yes education ministry o ni education emergency plan bia documented e wo ho enu nti e na atonye nchem bi ti se a as a private institutions and as a private companies no doing more than more education esimu na so because there's no set aside funds for such emergencies.
There's no set aside funds and all. Classrooms one ABC. Edu watch the ABC and ABC. Books na one better. You see, for me, we are not in a normal situation.
Right.
Our priority is to restore normalcy. The normal there is fine by them. I mean, they are. I mean, critique of the education space. We respect their views, but I don't think at a crucial time where 22,000 students have been affected, close to 2,000 teachers have been affected, People do not have places to sleep. We are forced to convert classrooms to run shift systems. Our classrooms have been submerged. We are looking at possible ways to restore things back to normalcy and augment the academic losses. I will limit myself to a debate of whether or not the education plan. Indeed. What is an emergency plan? Emergency plan there. Just take your phone, just go to Google and even download the template there. There are a lot of emergency plans. And you see, the point is, emergency situations require emergency responses.
Right.
In many cases, emergency situations are not even situations where one could predict that this could be the outcome. And are you suggesting, say, every time we should envisage that A, emergency situation is going to come, B, emergency situation is going to come, and keep drafting plans, or we will keep amending plans? I don't think that is the focus now. Yes, we can have that conversation, but maybe it will be more meaningful on another day. At a crucial time, yɛnkwara enya baabi nkɔ classrooms. At a crucial time, yɛkɔ wɔn mo kyerɛ ɔma deɛ wɔn mo timi ase. At a crucial time, yɛkɔ akyerɛkyerɛfoɔ so wɔn mo nya baabi ɛnda. I will not come and engage in a debate of whether or not the Ministry of Education has engaged in a education plan, so that it becomes the next news item. Tomorrow it is on front page. Ministry of Education lacks education plan, and there is a whole diversion. Whether or not the ministry has it or the ministry is developing it, that conversation can be had on another day. But for now, what is crucial is our school-going children has been affected. We need the help of everybody. Was it private individuals are even committing more than the government?
According to Edward for
I mean, the assembly the president has been there, the vice president has been there, the minister of education has been there. We name any other form of commitment that we expect from the politically exposed people and even people in authority and people in leadership. I don't think in everything we should try to find problem with it. No, yes, we may not be where we should be, but definitely where we used to be, we are not there. As a country, yes, I mean we've had challenges within leadership, but the assurance is that we should also have assurance even with the leadership that we had, being the president of the land, being the vice president, and even being the minister for education. The minister went there, assessed the situation for himself. The president went there, assessed the situation for himself. Vice president went there. They both directed the minister to also go and assess the situation himself. Can I land? This is here. Both short-term measures even on that very day, we're able to distribute stationaries, we're able to distribute the needed items that are required. Then we got them say you need emergency plan the be so na come back na.
Right. Some of these so my caller now. I'll give you time now. They are wrapping up. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Okay. When to me so my member back. Are there plans to say mobile send additional teachers to areas Wana?
I mean that will be jumping ahead of the gun.
Right.
It will me kapa. And you would be a boba and the unnecessary. Well, we are for so. Because it could be someone. Leadership on there just 2 days ago. Leadership put up, even the day I know more, were able to put up some emergency responses within the short term. Leadership will say, we share the solution, especially looking at the medium term and the long term solutions. It requires a lot of extensive collaboration. I mean, it is not that simplistic. And that is why I'm explaining to you. For instance, you guys say, oh, in Sunniboko within 2 weeks' time. In Zonoko 2 weeks' time, in Sua, Sebio, a dying in Sua Jinembe, so many a chain. Utiman Korako, maybe at a chabo, you have to take inventory. Taking inventory will mean, say, and Kuyase, Nebubum, Kuyase, and I say, classroom no, a conducive for learning and teaching. One more uncanny work classroom or Hasayana, you hear electrician, you hear say a padanozo. These are all conversations that is not that simplistic as Bia Yibehuno. Of course, like I earlier indicated, within the medium term, no, ubetima pavilions, binia de. Sisi and prem no, because we are even tracking students. One more at communities to be able to come back. Yes, and back to your question about whether or not we are going to, get more teachers. If the situation requires, why not? At the end of the day, we'll get the full complement of teachers to be able to enhance teaching and learning activities. Also say, even Pono community no, we're able to also get some graduates at the short term. Say the MPs, political leadership, say DCs, district and regional education directory that starts, we are also able to augment with the teachers that we have are fine. The point and the principle I want to establish is that this is more or less a disaster. It's an emergency situation. It is not a normal situation. I acknowledge we need rapid and emergency responses and interventions. But I don't think we should use the usual and perennial route. And education minister, what do we seek to achieve? I don't know. We have assured you that kindly before the regional director and then for education director at that very crucial time now has even begun something with the SIP system. And interestingly, the cameras were there, so it is a news that I can share with you. Interestingly, district directors are no more conference or why it will interest you to know say the Minister for Education directed them say immediately one should come back to make sure say they attend to emergency situations because maybe I will fear why do you go for a conference to do what? Right. The level of agency that the Ministry of Education, the Minister for Education, Dr. Ayose has attached to this, we need everybody's hands. Okay. I don't blame the person. I take it that the person is coming from a very angle of
credit in the boy. Mr. Kwati, hold on for a moment. Oh, me call us in so me form one normal. Ain't it right? Curriculum na me bisa edu what you for no. Bibi betimi asesa wo one and answer it's too early for that.
So yeah, as I say, is geared towards mitigating learning losses. So more friendly school. So definitely some of the instructional hours have been lost.
Right.
You may have a short-term solution, you may have a medium-term solution. I'm unable to go ahead of because it's beyond my pay scale to actually go ahead of what my bosses have not finalized.
Right.
But now we are 2 days in here. You've assessed the situation. We are going to roll up, a series of interventions. As and when every intervention is done, same no in the media for
hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Right, but wrap it up, mommy. Why? Wrap it up, mommy.
Assurance amedema for students Ghana for nyina titru enuanom na atefo ne adu atefo nyina ne se baby adru no se baakofo ani nsu nyankopɔ ani de ekata Minister for Education on president and na be de echi ye guso den ya honhare so entempeso emrikatu so yen hyehyeye biara say we'll be able to restore things back to normal. And sometimes I just believe that more and more it's not just about reports that people are giving, accounts that people are giving. You go and assess the situation for yourself, so that even the reportage will be streamlined in an angle.
Why?
Now, hey.
There be even for the minister to go there and work, but nintemo so and I knew me and ready won't get out. It's a gas among your see a quiet what to tell books that woman and nintemo so. If there is anybody who is interested in the agency of finding solution to, this for instance, Spillage, I'm not sure anybody is more interested than the chief architect and the chief teacher or teacher in chief of Ghana. Have you?
achechefo nyina pani no na achechefo nyina se won mu adwuma omo ye no abreki wo ntimi kwa adwuma omo tete omo adwuma no omo do adwuma no nti ntimi nya adwuma omo tifi omo ntimi nya hwe nti omo pese omo do adwuma na won mu ehene na opekuro ye se kuro no he
Mr. Kwate.
Ngoso hene opekuro ye se no
Right. Mr. Kwate yate wa iti ye hwe ni mu se enti hye amudi ago ekum kwan mu no ebe ye the positive impacts on effect aba esane Akosombo and Pong dam spillage here there but abusa for ha na do besie ye hwe ni mu se next week no ye be hwe impact ewo apomuden ensem eso te so mu kyemu a enso omo no ne ne aka ne nyina akwa no ase start ye no na nya papa bi sa into next week no ye be dom suko ne akohwe apomuden nsem emra atoye nchemi ato ye nuanom a omo wo from mantel me da se so unya abre na wo hwe ma me da team no engina as Prince 4K Azay na wana biom ne wo Mr. Hayford wo se wo ma ka nyina edi fofo no wo de e de mama ene me guest director me hu no 2 years ni Kiki Darling also me do bibia Samina MC afo ase ene executive producer ase Samirenchi kwadade de do na fe no Sky e da ase da se ne e be sign e de dwumadie no aba oh ma me kanche me producer Reggie ne ho fa no nyame ma na ho de na ho nka no ho see you next week bye.